I downloaded Crunchyroll today.
Did you?
Yes.
Because my research piqued my interest in a certain.
My research made me do it.
It did. My research piqued my interest, and so I downloaded it. This is relevant to what Danny said. I'm not just going on a tangent. But after I downloaded it, there were advertisements for it on Facebook, and I'm like, I already have it.
I got it.
Advertising it to me now. I'll let you guys know which one made me download it when I get to that one here.
I'm excited.
Seriously, I'm very, very passionate about this topic. Very much so. I did a bunch like speeches on it in college and everything.
Excited because I
might have a guess on the show that made you download it, but I will hold my answer.
Okay.
How many of y'all started with a Motorola Razr?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had one of those slide phones.
I wanted that. I wanted a Sidekick so bad.
Yeah. It was a Sidekick, but it was like an LG off-brand type of one.
I wanted the LG chocolate for my first phone, the one that slid up for like, and it was still a T9 keyboard, but it was like, it slid up, you know? But then my parents like, no. And they got me like the one step above a Motorola Razr. And I was like, okay, I guess. Like, there we go. Okay.
Lit.
Hello, friends. Today we're going to be talking about representation in general and in anime. I'm very passionate about this topic, as I sure am a lot of other people are. But with that being said, this is going to be much more of like an open discussion type of thing, because we're all very diverse ladies who have diverse backgrounds and stories, and we relate to the things that we see all differently. And it's important that everyone has a voice. So who would I be to silence my own fellow waifus? So today, that's what's going to happen. So the first question that I have for you all is, how has anime impacted your life?
For the better. My goodness. Like,
that's true.
What a loaded question that could have like a 20-minute long answer.
I know. All of my questions basically have the power to like take up a whole podcast, which I think is
she said I have the power
of talking about something as important as representation. But just feel free, and I'll cut you off politely when we need to.
Shelby will give the wrap it up signal.
Well, I'll go. Let me see. Anime. Ooh, I don't want to go no more because that's personal. I don't want to. No,
I'll go.
Go, Mana.
I think anime, I definitely don't know who I'd be without it. I was raised with it when like it was the only thing to do. So it's like a big core piece for me. It's definitely, I probably would have been a lot more boring if I didn't watch anime. I tend to find that people who don't watch anime tend to have higher chances of being boring. So overall, I think it's great. It's definitely a bit of a learning curve when you're younger, though, because, well, now it's not because it's so fad. But when I was younger, at least, it was a little bit hard to swim into properly and find myself and be okay with it, and et cetera, et cetera. But overall, it's great. It's good shit. It's probably done some damage too, but it is what it is. Ooh. Also, I'm sorry if I don't talk a lot this podcast. For the viewers, I just got all 4 of my wisdom teeth removed like 3 days ago.
How are you feeling? Okay.
Painkillers aren't helping.
Oh, baby.
And so I'm just here. I can't eat nothing. All I've eaten the past few days is cheese puffs, tomato soup, mashed potatoes, and applesauce and pudding. That's it.
Oh, you starving.
I am.
I just want to hug you and feed you donuts.
Please.
I'm sure they have you on some like prescription strength painkillers.
I have prescriptions, just not doing it.
But when I have really bad sinus infections, I know that there's only like one over the counter that even puts a dent in it. And at the risk of brand dealing, I won't say the name, but I'll tell you after the podcast of the best painkiller that I've found that you can get over the counter. So if you need to like little extra.
And my stitches itch. There's stitches and they itch.
Ooh, okay, Mana.
Sorry.
Too real.
Yeah.
So you know, so I don't get any.
I will say that if I could go, can I go next? Can I go next? Okay. I feel like anime for me kind of just like, if my mind could be a book, it would just be full of shit from anime. Like, oh my God, I want to see a guy split in two. Oh, that was so dope. Or yes, I want to see a magical fairy like with glitter, and like just the magic of anime in itself, I feel like broadened my mind. And I think like I get a lot of inspiration from it. Like it's just so many, what if that happens? And what if they went there? Or, you know, so I can honestly think and feel like anime was made for me when I watch it. I'm just like, yep, I was meant to be a part of this world. Like I'm a part of it. So I love it. I look at anime basically as an extension of myself. So I honestly don't know where I would be without anime. There we go. No claps. Damn. Okay. Thank you.
Are we snapping? We should just snap. We should give them snaps.
Snap.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. You want to go?
Yeah, I'll go. Gosh, it's like, I agree with Mana. I feel like I'd be a lot more boring, and it kind of like, I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing, but it kind of has that like, it like stimulates the part of my brain that like really latches onto something. Like that's how my personality is I have that very like obsessive, like when it's something that I like, it's like I really like it. And so having like an outlet for that's like healthy and good, it's like, yes, this thing, the show or whatever, that it makes me really excited and happy. And I was thinking when we were talking about maid cafes last week, because I'm currently rewatching one of my favorite anime, and I'm not going to say it because I feel like Shelby's going to mention it, so I don't want to spoil anything, but it does give you that like moe feeling of like your heart just like, oh, like it's so pure and so good. And it's like, I don't know, you don't see a lot of that in Western media. Like so much of what we consume is so heavy and dark and like dramatic. And so when it's something where it's like, oh, it's just so pure and it makes my heart happy. And it also just made young Danielle like feel like there were cool Japanese people in like different like pop culture and stuff. And so when I read Sailor Moon for the first time, even though like she didn't look like me, I'm like, that's me, because like she's Japanese and she's a superhero and that's cool. So it like that made little Danielle very happy and very comfortable with who she was. So yeah, anime's rad.
Nerd.
Listen.
What about you, Annie?
I think it helped me develop my passionate side because, like, I don't know. I just felt growing up that it wasn't okay to express a lot of emotion outwardly. Mm-hmm. And anime just had such, like, wide, like, and vivid expressions, like, in your face and your and, like, your body and things like that, that I felt like there was a place for that, and that I could join that place, and that, I don't know, it made me feel like I belonged with a bunch of people that also were able to express themselves, and also like a lot of passion for creativity and avenues like that. Like Studio Ghibli made me feel more in tune with nature and inspired me to go out into the woods in my backyard, and Cardcaptor Sakura made me want to sew and make costumes, and so it really like developed my passionate side. So
Well, I didn't really watch anime all that much, but I am
Right.
very, very passionate about movies, television, and all of that. And I think a lot of it was because of like escapism that's attached to those type of things. Like it's easy to get lost in whatever you're watching. Like I remember vividly my first time watching Titanic full length, which is my favorite movie, because it was like in the middle of like an ice storm. And I was home from school and they were playing it like for several days on AMC or whatever, or something like that. And I just remember watching it and being like mesmerized by it because it's like such a big film. And I'm like, that's crazy. And it's just something that I fell in love with that film, and it just transformed. And I think so that's how it's impacted my life. I'd say it's part of my personality that I'm a film buff, so it's definitely impacted my life.
Titanic was one of those double VHS movies when I was a kid, where it was like the big fat box. And I was like, this is serious. Like,
and then the next question I have is more of a general media question, and it's like it's one that you could go on forever, and it's complicated. So like you can give a succinct answer. Like you don't have to go into like major detail because there are essays like exploring. So how important do you think media is in influencing culture?
Oh, huge. I mean, especially now, because we are so like, I mean, if you count social media as like media and like culture consumption, then it's like that's 90% of our lives are just like on a little computer that we hold in our hands. And so because it's everywhere, I think it's super important that we have to like make sure it's at least doing something kind of good, because it's so easily accessible now. Because like, I mean, back when we were kids, it was like, you want to watch a show, at least, you know, we're all relatively the same age. This might be old for some of you guys, but like, you know, if you want to watch something, it's like you put a VHS in the VHS player and had to record it with the commercials and like set it on a timer. Like it was like, if you missed it, it's like, sorry, like you're screwed. And so, but now it's like, oh, I'll just go find it like 3 days later somewhere. Like, either it's already recorded or someone like bootlegged it up on YouTube. It's like, there it is. But it was so wild because I've been watching, like me and my mom have been watching some old like 90s movies that have just been like playing late at night on like, you know, VH1 or whatever. And like casts in the 90s were so diverse. Like, and I don't know where that went, but I was like, look, we have like Asians and African Americans and Latinas and white people, and I'm like, where's that now? But like, I don't know. I get real heated talking about this. So I'll stop.
Kind of going, just piggybacking. I don't want to go next. Just kind of like just what Danny said, like on Berserk, like when they revamped it, like the guy on YouTube was saying like the difference between the two. And he said, why is Casca white? Like it was the funniest thing I heard, because I was like, yeah, she was definitely a woman of color. And the new one, she's very like more pale and more lighter. And everyone's like, no matter what their race is, notice the difference. And was like, hey, this isn't even true to the arc. Like, what's going on? Why did y'all do that?
Yeah. Oh, ask me how mad I was when they changed in Doctor Strange, like the master to be a white woman instead of an Asian American man. Because I was just like, and it's Tilda Swinton and she's great, but I'm like, it was an Asian dude. Like, yeah, come on.
Let's not get started on Avatar. We're not even going to get started on Avatar.
We're not. No, we're not.
Damn it.
Oh my gosh.
We need a whole podcast on that. What's wrong with that?
Speak your frustrations about representation. It's what this podcast is about. Don't be afraid to get heated, because I have a whole essay that I'm about to say that's very heated. So.
Ooh. Someone else go, or I'll talk.
Turkey boobs.
What?
Very
Nani the
bad misrepresentation.
Perky boobs in anime create
Unrealistic
unrealistic
expectations
expectations for women.
I heard
Body
turkey
expectations.
boobs.
No, perky with a P.
Be on the Scrabble board. Turkey
That's
boobs.
unrealistic too, I think.
Yeah,
But
both
Both are unrealistic. Oh,
Let's go.
Go watch our fan service one if you want to hear our problems with boobs. Like, I know we talked about
yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
Ooh, Lord. But yes, women's bodies, how to treat, like, I don't know, like anime sometimes make women, like, they're always that shy. Oh, like, I have a problem with that. Like, the way they approach women sometimes is very, I don't like it. Like, they're very grabby for some reason. I think we discussed this, like, on the cringe worthiness kind of a thing. Like, they're very, oh, it's her boob. Oh, no. Like, no, that's not okay. Like, I don't like that. But
I will say, I think there is a reason for that, though.
I think it is too. That's not realistic.
No, not at all. But
yeah, you don't, just because a woman has nice perky breasts or just nice breasts in general doesn't mean you just grab
walk up and
yes, like there's some things are not okay.
Sexually assault someone, yeah, but yeah, I mean, like, very briefly, just because like Japanese dating culture is very weird, and like, I don't want to generalize, but I will say, generally speaking, like, the guys over there don't like women who are too forward, because then they see that as like, you're easy. And that's like a big no-no. It's
well,
like,
Americans have that as well. I think that's a world problem.
Yeah, but then at the same time, they don't pursue like the shy women because they're afraid they're gonna get shot down. And so that's like partly in why their birth rate is declining so quickly, is because like nobody's getting married and having babies over there, because like nobody knows how to talk to each other. So there's like government like ordained like mixers to try and get people to meet, because they're like I forget what year it's by, but it's not that far in the future that it's like the Japanese population could be like done at like a certain point, because like dropping so rapidly. And so people are like, get married, make babies, like, you know, the government is like
also they have like a very high percentage of their population is elderly, and now there's nobody to take care of them.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
I didn't know that.
I knew that either.
Wait, what?
Anyway,
I'm about to say,
not entirely tangential, but kind of adjacent.
In our culture, there's a thing called twerking that attracts.
It's our mating dance.
Called twerking. And that
don't make Mana laugh too hard.
Twerk. The one.
Yeah.
Like, and again,
I will never get married if that's how you get married.
Same, yeah.
And you gotta see what you're working with. It's kind of like a preview before you're like, yeah, I think I want you. It's kind of like, it's like, how do you work that?
Nothing.
Oh man, I'm gonna be single forever then if that's the case.
I wish. You don't know how
We
much
do.
I had an ounce of rhythm. I don't. Sorry. I also have a flat butt.
It's okay. I find everything about you charming, Shelby.
Thank you.
Shelby, it don't matter. We gonna do
gosh.
lessons. It don't matter what
this is
shape
way
it is.
Anyway, yeah.
Right. So why is culture important?
Culture,
Or how important is media to culture?
Yes.
I'll go. I think media and culture are not honestly two separate things. They're really one and the same. Media affects the culture so much. There's so many things about the way people are nowadays. It's all in media. Nothing is separate at this point, because we're also technologically advanced. And it's become a problem. It's actually a really bad problem. I think there's a lot of good media out there, but there is just too much to sift through, and the things that are mainstream are what's feeding our culture, and our culture is not dead or poisoned, but it's on its way. It's highly problematic.
Agree with that statement.
Very insightful, Anna.
Thank you, Mr. Payne.
What about you, Andy?
Focus through the pain.
You have some insights for us?
I think culture plays a big role, or I think media plays a big role in shaping culture, but there are some things that like media doesn't shape, like family traditions, I guess. And that's an aspect of culture. But I feel like nowadays, even that has been, I wouldn't say like tainted, but like it's been influenced by media. So like now people have new family traditions based off of like TV shows. Like my family has a tradition where we like on the food thing I was talking about, where we have mashed potatoes and then canned peas. That's like a family like tradition where it's like a meal that was passed down from, you know, grandparents and things like that. But now we have a family tradition that just started in our family, like, you know, when it came out in 1995, whatever, of watching A Christmas Story. Which is that Christmas movie, and it's like that shapes family traditions as well, which is an aspect of culture. So I'd say that it's really becoming important. Like, you know, it didn't used to be important, but now it's exploded into becoming an asset.
For sure.
So yes.
Yeah,
that's a very good yes.
Our voice from the ether just made a very good point. Not that you could hear it, but
yeah. You should share the quote with the people. They didn't hear that.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I just had the best idea. But our voice from the ether made a very good point of saying that media is not ahead of its time, but a product of its time and culture and everything that's related to that. Yeah, because I am hesitant to say that it shapes it, because I feel like I'm turning into one of those parents who's like, video games cause violence. And it's like, that's because I mean, you could say the same thing about like any of the like banned books and like that, when it's like, oh, it shapes it so heavily. And it's like, but at the same time, you're like, does it? Like, do kids playing Call of Duty make them more violent? Like, I don't know. Like,
See, that's funny because I mentioned that in my essay that I'm about to read. But I don't necessarily, my opinion on that specifically is that I don't know if it's so much that like, oh, if you play violent video games, you're going to be violent. I think that attests to the power that media and culture overall has over people. Is that they think that that's going to happen because media is
placebo effect.
It doesn't necessarily mean it is going to happen, but they see media as this all-powerful thing, especially now since everything is, one of you made the point of like how saturated our lives are with media now. And it's just like, okay, that's on the TV. Media is like representing what's happening in the world. That must be in danger. So that's what I think. But I'm just gonna give my little spiel on representation. And this is over media in general. It's not like directly towards anime. Just want to say that because like America has their own issues with representation. And I think that's mainly where my I don't want to say anger, I want to say frustration is coming from in regards to that. So this isn't like directed at like anime, because anime does have its issues, but I just want to say it's not like directed towards any subgenre or genre of things. It's towards everything, media, culture of the world, really. But representation in media is important because it is involved in our everyday lives. From TV to movies to news to social media to books, it creeps in whether you attend it to or not. Even if you not acknowledge it as fiction, it becomes a sort of reality for you. You can see this in the way extremely religious parents ban their kids from reading Harry Potter because it might have a negative influence on them, or complains about violent video games influencing people to be violent. It's because media has power to change the world, and with that power comes great responsibility. I know I'm quoting something there. I don't know what, but I know that's a big, big quote. But we as like consumers of media have to hold media accountable, because when they don't show marginalized groups of people, including not limited to BIPOC, LGBTQIA+ community, and people with disabilities, and women, it becomes hard for those people to see that there are other people like them or that they matter. It causes them to question if their voice matters. If they don't see people like them in certain positions, how can they imagine themselves there? Moreover, it is equally as damaging, if not more, to present grossly exaggerated stereotypes that are not realistic to these marginalized groups at all. Again, this causes a sort of crisis within marginalized groups. Not only do they not see themselves in a character, but it causes them to question if this stereotype is what is expected of them. These dangerous stereotypes influence others as well. Media sometimes being the first and only interaction people have with groups that are different from them, promoting dangerous stereotypes and ideals that can lead to racism, albinism, sexism, homophobia, transphobia, and other forms of discrimination based out of ignorance promoted by the media. It doesn't matter, like I said, if you acknowledge it as fiction, it becomes part of your experience, and you have to dismantle those negative stereotypes and connotations that are put on you. This is why representation is important. In front of the screen and behind it. There has been progress thanks to those in marginalized communities for speaking out and fighting for their right to be represented, but there's still a lot of work to be done. So.
You just brought up a lot of feelings young Danielle had growing up.
So then my next question is for you guys, before we dive into representation in anime specifically, is what representation means to you.
Okay,
I'll go first because I have a big one.
Get it.
And it makes me really mad, and so I'll try and not be really harsh about this, but I am so sick and tired of East Asians just all being lumped together as like Chinese, Japanese, Korean. Like, I am so tired of that, and it gets me so mad every time, because it's like, you know, even in like Memoirs of a Geisha, like, which is obviously like a Japanese movie, I think Ken Watanabe was one of the only like Japanese people in that movie, and I like, I'm not trying to like discount East Asian actors who are like trying to get roles, but like, it is very frustrating when Hollywood is like, okay, yeah, y'all kind of look the same, so we're just gonna like lump y'all together, and you know, Asian is Asian. And like, and I can only imagine how like people in like more of like Middle East Asia feel, because a lot of people, when they think Asia is like China, Japan, Korea, it's like, no, there's like a crap ton of other Asian in there too, but it's like, that's what gets associated with it. But then at the same time, it's like East Asians are all kind of like clumped together, and just, I get very tired of that, but that's all I'll say, but it makes me mad.
Tell them, Danny. Speak your motherfucking truth. Fuck them. Whoever you talking about.
I get, yeah.
She said, I am.
Oh yeah, on all sides, like, it's a cluster over there of war crimes, and so like, yeah, it's a very like messy history that's over there, and so I can only imagine it's like, yeah, being lumped in with people that like, you know, maybe your grandparents fought, you know, or great grandparents fought in a war that was happening over there, and you know, really terrible things happened, and to be like, oh yeah, Japanese is Chinese is Korean, it's like, that'd be incredibly insulting. But again, I don't want to get too heated, so that's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, tell them. You're not Shelby. I accidentally called you Shelby. Misrepresentation. Who's next? Do I go on my rant next?
Yeah.
All right, fuck it. I'm going on my rant next.
Somebody go, yeah.
Check it. Okay. Sorry.
Check
when it comes to representation, I have a lot of issues. A lot. Only because I can go from the outside world looking in, I can go from my world looking out. As far as colorism, I'm obviously fair skin, red hair. I do not look like my culture. It's from my world. I get a lot of, oh, she's stuck up, she's this, she's that, because I'm either mistaken for someone who is of mixed race, who in my culture is represented of having more privilege. You can take that back to slavery. You can take that back as far as you want to go to the root of it. But I get misrepresented just in my own culture, just based off outward appearances. Even if you want to go back to media, every time, well, it used to be, they're getting a little better now. Whereas in my community, we're always mad that they're always picking a girl with better, like a good hair texture to play the Black girl. It's always like a mixed girl playing a full Black girl, or it's always they always have their hair a certain way. Like a lot of Black women that are in the media, their hair isn't their hair. Like they're not wearing braids or any, like it's different now, because, not trying to be funny, you see that culture being more incorporated everywhere. Yeah. But with us, we're just like, can you please get her hair right? Can you get her some edges? Like, But just as me going off of how I would like to be represented as, I have to go back to stereotypes. I am a African-American woman with multiple kids at a certain age on paper. Like, I'm sorry, that's what representation does to you. And no one sees, okay, she has 2 degrees. No one saw me walking on campus pregnant with 2 kids. No one saw me working 2 jobs. And I'm a single Black mother at that. And the fact is, because of certain representations, I can't open up things about my life because it falls into that category. But no one sees the triumph over that. It's always, oh, well, we expect that. Or, okay, well, we get it. When really, we don't want sympathy. We want acknowledgements to say, hey, this is how really hard it is. I mean, I can go to Willie Lynch, how basically slavery is bred in us to still continue in cycle. I can talk about just how the jail systems are ran and how most of America is making their money off of free labor. Like, we can go really to the root. But as far as representation, I don't feel open to share, honestly, because it's like, it's expected of me. I'd rather just say, hey, this is what I've done. This is what I'm doing. This is what I've trying to do. And it's sad because it's like, I can't even pat myself on the back. Like, I can't say I'm raising 3 kids on my own, and despite of COVID, I'm still trying to prosper. Like, I can't say that, because then that's what I am versus what I'm going through. You see what I'm saying? Just for me, how I'm represented is just, I am my issues versus, hey, I'm a human being that's going through shit, and I'm other things. But it's like, oh, no, she's Black, multiple kids, dad ain't around. Like, you know, that's, so it's like, oh, no one's listening anymore because I'm already in that category.
Yeah, I get that. Snaps to that. It's great. I'll go based off that, because half of what, not even half, but like a lot of similar elements. I think I like to see myself represented more in society. Being brown is not pushed as something that's beautiful, and it never has been, and it's gotten better now, but it's still not. And I would like to see darker tones. There's so much whitewashing in media. It's honestly really discouraging. And it's really hard to see a character that represents you when you are a darker tone person. And I hate being pushed into, like Jack said, like the categories of, like, if there is a Black person in the dark tone, usually they have certain character tropes that go with them instead of being like a fully just a person with different qualities and elements to them. We tend to be very flat. I'm tired of that. I also like to see kinky hair types being accepted, because like our hair is just our hair and we can't control that, but it's just pushed that's just not appropriate. It's not cute. It's not beautiful. So we have to push for a more straighter look. And even I have to admit, even now, I love when I get my hair done, because then when I have it down, it looks like straight hair, because that's as close as it gets. And it's like, then people treat me differently. People see me differently. I don't just have the girl with the kinky dreads. It's like, oh, look at her dreads. They're so nicely, fuck out of here, man. They're so nicely laid down. Oh, your hair is so pretty. And it really impacts you, and it impacts how people see you. And I would just like there to be more accepting, accurate representation. Yeah. That's all.
Damn it.
Damn it.
Damn it.
Said what I said. Period.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna eat my melty popcorn.
I'm enjoying this. I feel so
No, we're getting heavy.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for sharing.
Honestly, yeah.
All of it's like really personal and
It's really personal. I didn't think this podcast was going to get personal, and it did really quick. That was cool.
no, but I appreciate it.
Yeah. Appreciate it
Yeah.
too.
It's just, and it's like, I don't know. I think it's really important for kids to see, like, because like as an adult, you at least have like the foresight to be like, you know, I know there's people out there like me who are doing incredible things, but like when you're a kid and you're like, why don't I see anyone like me? Like that's so discouraging. And like, because I mean, that's why I like latched on to anime, is because I'm like, these are Japanese people, and like I don't get this anywhere else, because, and it's like, but it's also at the same time why I liked Mulan so much, because I'm like, yeah, she's Chinese, but at least she's Asian. Like we have one Asian princess that we're like her, like all East Asians are like her, like
honey,
she's awesome.
Oh, the black
like,
community is mad because we finally get a black princess, and
she's Tiana, and then she's a frog.
She's a frog the whole rip, and she didn't even get the money. She still had to work. She didn't even get the gas. She still went home and paid rent. Like that is so depressing. Who goes home to bills? Like at the end, like I was
better Disney. Disney do better.
Yep.
Disney, do better. That was so rude. That was so damn rude.
Yeah. I just like, and it's like, I'm glad we're talking about all these things where I'm getting flashbacks of like school of people saying really dumb crap to me, because this one kid gave me so much crap. I was so proud. I brought in, my family in Japan had sent me over Japanese Pokemon cards, like in the 90s when Pokemon was like, you know, everywhere. And on the back of it, it was pocket monsters, because that's what they were called over there, are pocket monsters. And so I had my card and I was showing my friends, and this kid was like, that's so dumb. Why is it not Pokemon? Why is it pocket monsters? And he gave me crap about that for the rest of the school year. And I'm like, just let it go, man. Like, good Lord.
What's
and I did, and I
like, why does he care?
And like, it's like, oh, I can't read this. I'm like, yeah, because in another language,
you're lame.
Dingus. Like, but yeah.
But not to be funny, that kind of goes back to when we were saying like media versus culture. Like culture is learned. The way you see things is learned, and media just is like a mirror or a magnifying glass saying, look at this. This is how you're supposed to be. So
it's for sure.
What do you
It's like, and kids are just like mean. Like they just are.
Oh yeah, they're
assholes. But I mean, and the amount of times when, you know, and it's like, I feel terrible even saying it, but the amount of times people come up to me and be like, oh, like ching chong, and like say stuff like that. And I'm just like, thanks. I've been, called slurs. I got the slanted eye thing all the time. And I'm just like, can we not? Like it's just, oh my gosh. People are the worst. It's the moral of the story.
People are racist, and I'm a ginger. Apparently, I didn't know what
people just suck.
Ginger was until later.
Oh yeah.
I get both.
Women of color are not great. But oh boy.
I think that was
sorry. I got Those elementary school feelings got all riled up again.
It's okay, Danny. Let it out. This is what this is for. Purging the soul today.
I'm good.
I just wanted, like, I hope you guys feel comfortable and that this is a safe space to, like,
Oh yeah.
air those out and everything. That's why I wanted this podcast.
Yeah, if someone gives me crap for being Japanese on an anime-based YouTube channel, then it's like we got some deeper problems to address.
I wanted to say at the beginning is like, this is what it's about, and if you don't like it, you might as well just move on to the next video because, like,
yeah, it's like
this is what the podcast is for. Damn it.
Yeah.
I'm working up to mine. Mine's
take your time. You're good.
Mine's a little bit more. Well,
I'm excited.
it's just
no pressure. No pressure.
It came out.
I know. It's just.
Don't feel too put. Talk about what you can and
or the TLDR, you know, just a brief
It's
overview. It's just whatever you feel good with. Like,
see this shoulder, Annie? This shoulder's for you.
I just want you to be comfortable. You don't have to share anything that you're not comfortable with.
Yeah, for sure.
So something that I would like to see represented in media is normalizing, but not making it trendy, mental health issues.
Yes. Amen.
I'm with you there, sister.
I agree with that.
Oh, Annie, I want to give you a hug.
Don't cry. It's so Annie. Actually, cry if you want to.
Oh, you're gonna make me
I'm not
start
gonna tell
crying
you
now.
not.
There was really only one show that like ever made me say, "Oh, I'm like that," and I felt like I was heard, but misheard. And I don't know if you guys remember this show, but it was called Degrassi.
Degrassi!
And they covered all sorts of shit.
Oh, yeah.
But there were some topics that I really related to, and then they just fucked it up.
Oh, for sure.
And they made the person look insane. And I thought to myself, oh, but I've had those thoughts. Am I insane?
Oh, yeah.
And it hurt.
Degrassi got really intense. I feel that. Degrassi got really intense at times.
Yeah. And then growing up, just like there was this period where they tried to introduce it and then they tried to shut it all up. They tried to pass off things as, oh, they're just being teenagers. And then it got trendy.
Yeah.
Then it got trendy to say, "Oh yeah, I love thinking about killing myself."
Yeah.
Or yeah, that really makes me depressed. Like,
that honestly is.
You don't know what real depression is.
It's very much overused in today's culture. I agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, same concept of like, I hate it when people are like, oh, I'm so OCD about that. And I'm like, no, like you don't understand, like, as someone who like has those intrusive thoughts of obsessive compulsive, like, it's like, no, it's like you wanting your room to be neat isn't OCD. It's like, no, it's like you go back and check to make sure that something's really off because your brain just will not like stop talking. It's like, it's so different. And I mean, all that kind of stuff. It's just so, it's like trendy to be like, oh, I have anxiety. And it's like,
oh my God, Annie.
Watching a couple of celebrities die because they felt like they weren't able to be themselves. And I'm talking about Robin Williams in particular, but that was a really big blow because I felt like I would end up like that, where I would just never get heard. So I would like to see proper representation of people who are struggling through things and just being human.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm done talking.
Annie!
Thank you for sharing.
Oh, goodness, yes.
Really, really.
My nose is dripping like
Emotion.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, man.
All right. Puppies and kittens.
Puppies and
Funny enough, Neon Genesis Evangelion did a really good job of just being 100% raw.
I've heard that from different people who have watched it.
It's insanely hard for me to watch because it's so relatable.
That's what, because like, you know, so many people, because that's such a big, like, you know, Neon Genesis Evangelion, like everyone talks about it.
It's really popular, but like, it's really hard to watch if you struggle with mental illness.
For sure. And I've wanted to watch it, but everyone I've talked to is like, if you're like going through anything,
you gotta go, you gotta go into it with a good headspace.
Like you can't do it, or you're just gonna be like sitting there like, oh my gosh. And for 3 years I've been like, I'm kind of in the middle and I don't want to test that. Yeah. So it's like,
No, it's like
Shelby, did you have any more questions or?
I would actually like to share something. You actually inspired me, Annie. So my mom had a lot of problems when I was growing up. Issues with like alcoholism and mental illness. When you don't see that like represented and how alone it feels, it's hard. And it's really great when you see like, it's not great seeing other people in shows go through it, but it's just like knowing that you're not the only one. But yeah, because I was watching, it's not actually, it's like a musical I was watching, it's called Fun Home. And when I go see plays, I don't like to like look up what they're about or anything. And I had no idea what this show was about. And something like triggered in me seeing it because it was relatable to what was going on in my life. And I just remember like bawling and everything. And for me, it's cathartic to see that type of stuff, and like it hurts in the moment. But in the end, seeing like that representation that feels like so true is worth it, going through that and everything. That is part of the reason why I think representation is so important, because it makes you feel like you're not alone or the only person like going through certain stuff.
Okay. Can we all just like take a deep breath for a second? Like,
I didn't anticipate this getting so emotional, but
And as
I love all
brief,
of the feelings.
Just note for everyone. One, if you're dealing with anything, please find someone to reach out to, because it's worth it. And two, as a note, you never know what anybody else is going through. So be nice to people, because people have a lot of stuff that they're dealing with. And when you're mean, it doesn't help anything. So
and you never know what someone's triggers are.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
So
like, just be nice, cognizant human beings. I want to destigmatize therapy, man. Therapy is the best. Like,
it's amazing. Like in my community, honestly, like I've self-diagnosed myself with anxiety like when I was 5.
Oh yeah.
Like I would tell my mom I have 2 types of excitement. Like when I wake up, it's like, ooh, I'm going over grannies. And then I explained it. And then there's the other excitement where I feel like I'm getting a whooping. But so those are the ways I explained it.
Sure.
And so it took, I mean, I'm grown, and it's just, the community is, when your family comes from like rural South and kind of like, oh, they're the first ones to go to college, there's still some ideologies of you're okay. There was no, oh, let's take you to a therapist. There is no, okay, well, let's see what's wrong with you. There was no going to get assessed. It was, okay, go throughout your everyday life with this. It was no help. It wasn't until Google came around and I can look like, and I can't take medications. So at this point, a part of me, that's why I smoke. Y'all, that's why I smoke so much. I'll be trying to tell you. But to me, I'm not even being funny. Like it's at this point, it was just like, I've had panic attacks before coming on here and just had to just like, okay, because you're now as an adult, you have too much to juggle. So it's kind of hard to go back and fix a root of a problem when now you have other roots to kind of, it's like, dang, I don't
for sure.
Time, to wipe my ass if I really want to, because I got to deal with them. I wipe my ass. I'm just saying, there's no time.
That's good. I was a little concerned. That's good.
Yeah. So like I had to learn herbs. Like I take passion flower for my anxiety. I had to meditate. I had to find like other things to deal with it. And I'm still dealing with it. I have to go to a damn psychiatrist next month. One of them it's a psychologist and psychiatrist.
Size something.
Okay. It's the person I just got to talk to. Is that one.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to that person.
Yeah.
Next month.
Yeah. That's a big stigma in the Asian community too and like very thankfully, like my mom, it was very understanding and has always been very pro therapy. But it's just, it's like you don't talk about it, you don't deal with it, shove it down and that's that. But I will say there is nothing more validating than when you tell something to your therapist and they're like, yeah, that's screwed up and that probably messed you up a little bit. And I'm just like, Thank you. Like no one's ever said that to me. Cool. Like I'm not wrong here. Great. Like, oh gosh.
Therapy is for anyone. Everyone could go to therapy. Life would be a better place if everyone had the ability to go to therapy. And it's not that not everyone has the access to that.
Yes.
Unfortunately not.
Anyway, before we all start sobbing again, Shelby, did you have any more questions?
Yes, Shelby, come on.
Nahimana doesn't do that.
So we were actually going to go into, I was going to talk about representation and anime specifically, but I don't know if we have time to go into all of that. So I might just ask a couple of more questions.
Can I try and guess the anime that made you download Crunchyroll?
Yeah.
Okay, it's probably wrong, but it depends on which type of representation we're talking about. Could it potentially be Yuri on Ice?
It was that, yes.
Yes, I freaking knew it. I'm rewatching it right now, and it is making me cry so much.
You're
freaking, and I will die on the hill saying that History Maker is one of the best OPs in the game because I sing it the entire time it's on and it almost makes me cry every time I watch it. I need to watch that. I've gotten so many recommendations to watch Ahana. I love the Good Hurt.
And I'm gonna just make a confession. I started watching the new Inuyasha. I don't give a damn. I couldn't resist. That show was made for me. I started and I don't give a damn. No.
Oh my goodness, Jack.
I waited too damn long. No.
It's okay.
Just so y'all.
That's why that's why I'm rewatching Yuri on Ice because I'm like, oh, we're probably gonna watch this for the channel, and then I'm like, I need the feelings now.
Yeah. I fucked up. I went on Hulu and it was right there. Like you may I do like it. Oh,
amazing.
But I think we got to the point of why representation is so important with our conversation, which I think is what this podcast should have been about. Yes.
I would just like to randomly say, hey guys, can we please give brown characters not white hair? I mean, it's cool. It is a cool trope, but if we could switch it up a little bit, get a little crazy. I don't know. Add some spice.
And that. But representation in anime also has a lot of work to do, whether it be with like race and ethnicity, LGBTQIA plus characters, as well as women and people with disabilities. So I encourage you all to do research on your own time because we don't have enough time. And demand changed. That's the only way the powers that be are going to change, is that if enough of the fan base is like, we're not going to stand for this anymore. We want the representation that we deserve. And So I just encourage you to speak up, speak out, uplift voices that are more marginalized than you, and make sure they are heard by the powers that be, because that's the only thing that's going to happen to change. And I guess we'll end on recommendations that have good representation. If you all have something, go ahead and shout it out. And
Does it have to be an anime?
no, it can be anime,
or,
it can be anything.
I 100% suggest everyone going to watch She-Ra and the Warrior Princess of Warrior. Yeah. There's so many, there's different sexualities, different gender identities, different skin tones, different shapes and sizes. It's the most inclusive kids cartoon I've ever watched, ever. It's even more inclusive than Steven Universe. I'm not sure how you get more inclusive than that, but you do. It's amazing. So much representation in all of it.
Yes. I was gonna say Steven Universe because
that's a good one too.
It's also very good, and gosh, the episode that they did about anxiety hit me so hard, where it was because Steven's like really worried about something, and then they do the Just a Thought song, and how it's like, it's okay to feel that way, and I'm just like, oh, I needed to hear that when I was like 12 years old, not 26, but that's really good. And
Connie, you mean Connie? Connie was the one.
I thought it was both. Was it both of them? I thought Steven
Connie punched a kid at school.
Oh, yeah. That's what it was. And then she felt really bad about it. Because like her training took over. But yes, that one's really good.
So good.
As far as anime, as someone who is not a member of the LGBTQAI+ population, I will say from people who are, I have heard that Yuri on Ice is a very like sweet and good representation of like a healthy homosexual relationship.
It's so good
and it's so sweet, and I don't know how you could not like it. And there are a lot of different, because like all the skaters are from around the world, and they do a lot to like incorporate some of their native language into the dialogue and try and make it very inclusive for a very like, you know, primarily Japanese population. And so like it's so good, and it's so sweet, and the animation's stunning. So yeah.
Yes.
Oh. My I don't know. Because honestly, when you first asked the question, my thought went to, okay, if I wanted someone to get the correct representation of my culture, what would I suggest? Like, that's what my brain was trying to go through, but I don't want to get murdered by Black Twitter. So I'm gonna keep my mouth shut, because that's kind of a little harder. So then I'm just like, okay, what do I feel represented me in the best, like just as a whole? And I'm just like, I don't really know either. So I'm gonna pick two. I'm gonna pick Euphoria only because I honestly, watching Zendaya and just the things she did, I was like, I did all of those things. Like literally, I'm just like, mine was reality TV while she was just in the bed. And I was just like, oh my God, I didn't watch that, but I watched it. So that's when when it like hammered into me after watching that. So I suggest Euphoria for that. And anime wise, Netflix original Kipo.
That's not an anime.
Give it to them. Just give it to them.
No, that's an anime American mix.
It is. I said Netflix original.
Whatever. You know, whatever.
You just got like our voice from the ether just absolutely blasted Mana with the facts about how wrong she was about that not being an anime for you people listening. Anyway, okay, Annie, do you have a show?
I don't have a show, but and this might be, a lot of people will probably scoff at this, but a lot of her new stuff I would recommend listening to, because it comes from a really raw place, and that's actually Demi Lovato. Go listen to her music. Her song "Anyone" was absolutely heartbreaking, because I felt it so much.
Did you see her performance live when she did it
on the Grammys?
At the Grammys, yeah, it was heartbreaking.
Yeah, in that white dress. Oh, yeah, I love that.
Really. I recommend looking up the performance specifically, because it was right after she got out of the hospital.
Yeah.
for, you know, what she went through and everything. But yeah, I totally agree with that. My recommendation is for the show called Fleabag. And it is wonderful.
That won like a ton of Emmys, didn't it?
Yes.
This past year? Yeah.
Yes. And it's very like, so it's like 2 seasons, but the episodes are only 30 minutes long, and there's only 6 episodes per season. So it's like, I got it done in a day. But it will make you laugh as much as it makes you cry. It's like this woman who's just been through a lot of shit, but she goes through it, much of it for the better, and it just is my favorite show right now, and I totally recommend it. You have to watch it. I can't even describe it, but it's just it's very good, very, very good. But yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. Thank you to all of my fellow waifus for opening up their lives and sharing feelings that are hard. It doesn't go unappreciated, and I'm glad you all felt comfortable enough to share it within this space. It means a lot to me, and I hope it means a lot to our viewers, and I hope our viewers feel see some of themselves in what we were talking about, or they don't feel so alone if they see some of themselves in what we're talking about, and just know that someone is always there for you, and we're glad to be here for you as an escape, if that's what you want, as something fun. That's our main objective, is something that you can just dive into and just escape from your normal life. And that's at least what I want, because that's what movies and TV do for me, and YouTube, if I watch a YouTube person. So I hope that's what we do for you. And I'm going to stop rambling because, you know, but I just want to let you know how we all appreciate you, and we hope that this podcast helped you out in some type of way.
Look at Shelby bringing the humanity to
Shelby's always been the humanity of
so sweet.
But next week, I think we have Danielle.
Me. And boy, am I excited, because we are going to be talking about something that I have too much knowledge about, and that's otome games. And if you don't know what an otome game is, then show up next week for the podcast, because I'm going to talk a lot about it. We hopefully, by the time we record the podcast, everyone will have read a prologue to an otome game, and we're going to talk about why this is a thing. So yeah, I'm so excited, because
I have wasted $30. Only once did I spend $30 on an otome game, but we don't talk about it.
I can guarantee you I've spent more.
That makes me feel better.
And you'll have to guess the dollar amount in the comments, and I'll tell you next week, because it's gonna be bad.
Yes.
But yeah.
Thank you guys. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, do all the things that help us become a bigger channel. And we'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye, guys.